Welcome back to All Things Generic, Episode 7. I am your host, Eric. I am here with you today. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening. Hey, if you like what you hear, I would love for you to drop a like and a subscribe. That would be amazing if you did. A little behind the scenes, a little BTS as they say. This is now June 15th that I'm recording this, and I actually haven't recorded an episode in about a month. For a while there, I'd recorded 6 episodes and then released them every week just so I could start seeing the response and things like that. And I haven't actually recorded an episode for a month now. May 5th was the last time. That was when episode 6 came out. So we're actually going to do a little bit of a debrief on how the last month is gone. There's been a lot happening over the last month, and I want to dive into it. I want to talk about the good. I want to talk about the bad. And yes, I will talk about the ugly as well. But first, no, still no sponsors. Although I think a couple people have actually reached out to me. Maybe I need to follow up on that and even learn what that means for a podcast. I don't know yet. That's a learning curve for me. So, what are we going to do in this episode? We're going to do a monthly recap at this point because it's been over a month. And then there's 2 topics that I really want to get into. One, we're going to get into the topic of ultra-processed foods. And oh boy, is that a juicy topic. And might I say, an emotional topic. Is that a bit of foreshadowing? You'll have to stick around to find out. And then I also want to talk about a drug that I'm on. It's called Trulicity. It's a diabetic medication because I am diabetic. But it also does fall into the GLP-1 agonist. AGONIST, I believe agonist. I believe is how you pronounce it. And I want to talk about my feelings about that. It's an interesting thing. I'm not sure how I feel about it. We're going to process it real time. So if you're interested in that, you should stick around. And of course, we are going to end with aiming for better. How are you going to aim for better? What am I going to do to be a little bit better next week than I was this past week? So, with no further ado, let's dive into the retro. We're going to talk about what didn't go so well. And for that, I am going to shift over to the screen. All right, welcome to the retro board. I ignored that I said what went well this week. We're actually talking about an entire month. So let's dive into it. What has gone well? Well. That's a deep subject. Sorry, that was free. You're welcome. Shout out to Debbie for that one. What went well this week? Workouts, or this month. Workouts. So I'm pretty excited about my current workout schedule. I am back on lifting in the morning. Every morning I lift from about 7 to 8, which is pretty exciting. And I'm not going to lie, my workouts have gotten a little bit dull. I've been doing the same thing for 6 to 8 months, and it had gotten kind of dull. But thankfully, I had lunch with a friend. Actually, I hadn't seen him in over 5 years. So that was great to catch up with him. And I was very envious of his biceps, not going to lie. He has some really nice biceps. And I said, tell me what you're doing for workouts because I want to do the same thing. So he sent me his workout routine, and man, it's been fantastic. I think the coolest thing about it is that we're working out. We don't work out together. We work out separately. But every morning we're texting about, hey, man, I did the workout. Oh, my gosh, my legs are on fire. Or, man, I hate you right now because holy crap was that workout crazy. So I've been doing that for the last 2 weeks, and it has been really, really good. I've been really enjoying it. Other than my SI joint flaring up, which we'll talk about when we get to what didn't go so well. But other than that, man, it's put a renewed vigor in my workouts in the morning. And I think the other thing, just having somebody, not necessarily working out with you, but just knowing that you're working out at the same time or doing the same workout or just having that, I hesitate to say accountability partner because accountability I think is too heavy, but maybe that mutual encouragement, that mutual, hey, we're doing this together. We're in this life together. We're struggling through this together. And honestly, I love how I feel after I work out. I feel powerful. I feel accomplished. I feel ready to attack the day. And so I love it. I love my current workout routine. It's tons of fun. Again, the uh, minus the problem I'm having with my SI joint. We'll get there. All right, what else is going well? I've been able to play lots of disc golf. I've been trying to break double digits at a local course called Kentwood. My personal best there is 9 under, and I'm trying to break into 10 under, and I have not been able to do it. The last 4 or 5 weeks, I've gotten to -9. I have not gotten down to 10 to double digits. I think it's driving consistency and putting. Those are the two things that are killing me there. But I've been playing a lot of disc golf. Played again this morning. I'm going to go play again tomorrow morning. Probably going to play a different course tomorrow. We'll see, unless I want to give -10 another run. We'll see. What else has gone well? I would say over the last month, I'm doing better on the sweets at night. It's not every night anymore, which is fantastic. For a while there, it felt like, man, I was struggling with some kind of sweets almost every single night. But over the last month, I would say it has improved. I wouldn't say it's fantastic yet. In fact, this is actually in the didn't go so well category as well. But doing better. I'm not feeling the need to. Well, let me rephrase that. I am feeling the temptation to soothe or regulate my feelings at night with something sweet, but I've been able to avoid it. I've been able to either take contrary action or keep myself busy doing something else or just completely squash the temptation, which has been nice. Since we're talking about sweets, I mentioned in the beginning, I'm diabetic. I'm type 2, or like I like to call it, type fat. So I've been on a battle for my health in that manner, and I've actually dropped my A1C down to 7.2, which, considering 6 months ago it was around 12 or 13, I'd say that's a pretty significant change, and I am pretty significantly happy about that. So I still have another 2 points to go to get out of the diabetic range, but I am very, very happy with the path that I'm on currently, and I think next time I see my doctor in 3 months, my goal is actually to be out of the diabetic range. Which, interestingly enough, we'll talk about this in the not so well. My blood sugar has been tanking lately. I'm wearing a continuous glucose monitor, Freestyle Libre. Free shout out to you. Which I can track my blood sugar, which actually I'm doing right now. So hey, I can show you real time. Well, let me put that text message away. So you can see I had a really big spike. I'm trying to figure out how to control my blood sugar from tanking, which I might need to actually talk to my doctor because I don't know. My body is, I don't know if it's just processing sugar so much better because ding, 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 this is actually going into my next point. I've had a major, major shift in my diet. And when I say diet, I don't mean some kind of short-term crash course, like a Atkins or, man, that's old. That's showing my age. Keto or paleo or whatever the local latest fad is. When I speak of diet, I just mean how I'm eating, my lifestyle. I feel like I've had a major, major shift in my diet over the last 2 or 3 weeks, which is stemmed from a book that I started reading called Good Energy, which we'll get to that later. But I've noticed that, man, my sugar levels are actually starting to tank, which isn't good because if your sugar levels tank, you could go into a coma, which is not a good thing. So monitoring that, making sure I stay on top of that. Thankfully, this thing has an alarm on it so that once it hits below a certain number, I can start, just eating sugar, drinking OJ or whatever it is that I need to drink. All right, so the final thing that went well, the lows. The lows aren't super low anymore. So one of the things I have in my kind of in the middle of what went well and what didn't go well is I am stuck at 353, 353 pounds. I've been that for the last month. I cannot seem to shake that weight. I don't know why. Anybody else get a call back to shake weight right there? I don't know why. I don't know why I'm stuck there. I'm well, I do know why. Part of it is diet. Part of it was the snacking and sweets at night. But I'm maintaining. So that's why I put it in between what didn't go well and what went well, because I'm not I'm not I'm not gaining weight. I am maintaining it. All right, so we're just talking about maintaining the weight, and it's been an interesting journey because part of me part of me feels guilty when I'm not losing weight. Like I'm doing something wrong. I'm not studying for the test. I'm not doing my best. I'm not achieving what I should be achieving. Like there's some timetable that magically I have to do this by. There's nothing. There's no timetable. But there is this interesting kind of guilt or anxiety I feel when I'm not in the process of losing weight. Like I said, I've been stuck at 353 for the last month. And one thing that's interesting is that at certain points, I've clocked kind of my lifestyle or my diet or whatever it is that I've been doing or I've been eating. And I've clocked it and said, okay, Eric, this is what the 353-pound lifestyle looks like. If you want to get to the 345-pound lifestyle, we're going to have to make some changes. And it's almost a way to kind of give myself a break. Almost, nah, break isn't the right word. Well, maybe it is a break. Maybe it is almost like a celebration of progress or something that, hey, I've made it. I've made it here. And I have. You know, this is almost 40, almost 50 pounds down for the year, which is incredible. Now, I've got to make more changes to my lifestyle so that I can get under this current weight. Now, I've got to make some more tweaks to it so that I can get to that next goal. That next goal, getting into the 330s. That is my next goal, is to hit that 339. Like, man, when that happens, that is going to be so exciting. And so I've got to make some changes. I've got to do some things differently in order that I'm not doing now in order to get there. It kind of reminds me of the title of that book, What Got You Here Won't Get You There. Well, that's factually true. I've got to do something different. But I think the thing to celebrate is the fact that I'm maintaining. I'm not gaining. I'm not yo-yoing up and down, right? I used to joke with a friend of mine. Actually, we just talked about it this last week or two. I said, man, I've lost over 100 pounds. Unfortunately, it's been the same 10 pounds that I keep gaining and losing, gaining and losing, gaining and losing. That's not so much true anymore. I'm actually now just on this steady decline, which is fantastic. So yeah, I just want to talk a little bit more about that maintaining. That's exciting. I'm actually, again, I'm not yo-yoing. That is an achievement. All right, well, let's transition now to what didn't go well. What are some of my challenges? What is the good, the bad, and the ugly? What are some of the challenges that I'm having? As promised, here is the ugly. What didn't go well? What are the struggles? Again, let's normalize this. Let's start normalizing what we struggle with when it comes to food. This should not be an embarrassing topic. This should be something that we can talk about. So, although some of these aren't food related, so maybe I'm not even doing that justice. But what didn't go well? So I talked about it. My SI joint, I can't even say that word, sacroiliac, maybe. joint is acting up. It hurt so bad Thursday morning. I couldn't sit. It was bad. The only position that was comfortable, I was curled up in the fetal position for a while. That seemed to be the only thing that brought some relief. Whew. Well, that was fun to deal with. It seems to be past now, which is good. Took some anti-inflammatories, rested, and went on from there. So I do have some exercises from last time I went to PT on this that I need to start doing so I can strengthen that joint so that it doesn't take me out from time to time. What also didn't go well? I haven't done any cardio. I still haven't done any cardio. That's a problem. I need to do cardio. Although, interestingly, when I was at my doctor said, I really want you to focus on weight training because the weight training is what's going to help your body in terms of your glycogen stores and glucose, blah, 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 blah. He wasn't as worried about my cardio, which I think I need to worry about my cardio because, hey, cardio is good heart health, right? So I really need to do it. I've got the elliptical. I've got a ski erg that I have yet to put together and use. Like, I've got the equipment. I'm just not making the time. I need to do it. I need to do it. I need to do it. If somebody can help motivate me do that, that'd be great. What else didn't go well? I mentioned earlier my blood sugar is tanking. This is recent, probably over the last couple days, where your levels are supposed to be generally between 80 and 100. When it gets below 70, that's when panic arises. And mine has dropped below 70 a couple times. I'm actively looking at my glucose monitor now because I'm a little paranoid. But generally, that means that I'm probably not eating enough carbs. And by carbs, I mean complex carbs. I'm trying to stay away from the simple carbs in my diet. That's probably true. I need to eat more vegetables. I've been trying to eat more vegetables. Although yesterday, when it tanked, I had some kielbasa for lunch with a big old bowl of corn. And evidently that big old bowl of corn wasn't enough to sustain my blood sugar. So I got to figure it out. I got to figure out how to eat more carbs to maintain my blood sugar. It's also possible I need to get off some medication as well. That's something that I haven't ruled out. But I need to figure out how to eat more carbs, but not the bad carbs that constantly tear me down. So there's that. No cardio, we already talked about. So I'm still having some sweets at night. Yes, I still do. This is a problem. It's not all the time, which is good. But it is some of the time, and some of the time is definitely better than all the time. But I want to be better. And again, we talked about I'm stuck at 353. Maybe this is one of those changes that I need to make in order to get down to that 339. That's the next goal, 339. 339. I'm going to write that maybe everywhere to motivate me that this is where I'm trying to get to. So yeah, that's not going well. And I shared with you last time what the sweets are that I struggle with. Daggone Instacart. It's such an amazing invention, but it also makes getting things very easy. And Uber Eats is frankly the same issue. So yeah. All right. The last thing that didn't go well. So one of the things I noticed that I say a lot, and I'm getting tired of it. One of the things I noticed is that post-vacation, so my buddy and I went for a ride. We both ride motorcycles. We went up to the Smoky Mountains up in Boone. Actually, I don't know if those are the Smoky or the Appalachian. Anyway, we went to Boone, did some riding for a couple days, came back. And what I noticed was there's just a kind of a thud. Like when I returned back, I described it to a friend of mine the other day as like a deafening silence. And it's just a stark reminder, an acute reminder of how alone I can feel after being with people or around somebody for 24/7. coming back. Now I got my dogs, of course, and I have my parents are down the road, but it's just different, right? Yes, I could go down there and I can hang out, and I do from time to time. But it's not the same. It's not scratching the same itch. And even, riding with my buddy, yes, it's amazing. It's a great time. Still not the same. Like, that the idea of that connection, that deep connection where you're knowing and you're being known, is pretty powerful. And it's certainly something I desire. Maybe one day I'll find it. Who knows? I know my weight is definitely a hindrance to that. Not that it necessarily could be or should be or whatever. But, let's be realistic. I am a big guy. And if I were a gal, I'm not sure I'd want to be with a guy my size. I don't blame people for that. So that's why I'm working on it. That's why I'm working hard on getting healthy. Not just for that, sure, there is that aspect of it, but I also feel a hell of a lot better. And my disc golf game is getting it's not getting better. I need to putt better. But it is getting easier to play disc golf. I wish my scores reflected that I was getting better. So those are the things that didn't go well. All right, last two topics. Hang with me. We're almost done. We got two more topics to talk about. First one, ultra-processed foods. Man, this is a crazy topic. Crazy, and we're not even going to dive into all of it because it is a huge topic. But ultra-processed foods are not good for you. Bottom line. The end, period, end of discussion. Ultra-processed foods are not healthy. I've been doing a lot of reading and listening to other podcasts. I heard this one on American Glutton. Casey Means is an author. She wrote the book Good Energy, which I'll throw up. I think I usually throw it up there, although I think I pointed there last time. But anyway, so either there or there, I'll pop up the book title. Really, really good book. She's a doctor. She does a lot of research because she's a doctor, and that's what doctors do. They do a lot of research when they are becoming a doctor. Anyway, she gets down to the cellular, I can't even say that word. She gets down to the cellular level, talking about the mitochondria and how our mitochondria are powered and what kind of food is needed for good energy. The topic of her book, Good Energy. And basically, what I'm learning, and which is no surprise, is that these ultra-processed foods are really, I'm going to hesitate to say poisoning us, but they're not helping us. It's not helping our bodies create good energy. And man, do I feel that. I mean, just look at our country. We are the most obese country in the world. We're the wealthiest and we're the most obese. We're the fattest. I want to say I heard numbers anywhere between 60 to 80% of America is obese. I'm raising my hand. That's me. That's me. I'm in that number. I'm fighting hard to get out of that number, but I am definitely in that number. Like, it's a problem. And this ultra-processed foods are a problem. And holy crap, do I have an emotional bond to these ultra-processed foods. What I found interesting in one of the later chapters, she makes a list of foods. It's like, here's what you want to cut out. Things like, and she goes on this list. And then I'm just sitting there like, shit, well, I eat that. I eat that too. Oh, I definitely eat that. And I could feel myself feeling sad. Like I'm losing something. Like there is something being taken away from me, which I guess technically, yeah, something is being taken away from me. Something that makes me feel good is being taken away from me. I enjoy some of these foods. Like one of the thoughts that ran through my head was like, man, are you telling me that I'll never be able to eat my dad's lasagna again? If I went strictly by that list, probably not. Probably not, because holy crap, there's a lot of processed foods in there. But holy crap, is it good? It's one of my favorite things on earth is my dad's lasagna. Whew. So it's an interesting emotional roller coaster, emotional battle, and emotional. I don't know what else word you want to throw in there. There's such an entanglement with food. And I remember talking to my cousin years ago. I was up in Ohio and we were talking about, I was just talking about my weight battle. And she said, our family, we celebrate with food. Everything we do, all the big occasions are around food. And some of our food, like there's staples in our family, which I'm sure is true in every family. Like my dad's lasagna, my grandma's cheesy potato casserole. Yeah, oh man, that's some good eating right there. And you could go on. Everybody's got them. And just thinking about, man, what if I go by this list, I could never eat some of that stuff again. Now, the counter argument to that is things in moderation are generally fine, right? What if I had my dad's lasagna every once in a while? That's not a bad idea. Not a bad thing. I could probably make that work. Here's the compounding factor. Compounding? Yeah, we'll call it a compounding factor, compounding variable. Ultra processed foods are highly addictive. One of the things I learned over this last month is that a lot of the owners of this ultra processed food, a lot of the owners of the companies, same companies that owned big tobacco. Let that sink in for a minute. Same companies. Not only that, they are chemically designing their foods in a manner that makes them more addictive. That makes you want to have more. Like Cheetos, for example, how quickly that taste dissolves in your mouth and how much you still want. You want more and more and more. That's not by accident. That's by design. It's actually, the food is actually designed that way. We are in a battle against science. We're in a battle against people who are trying to get us addicted to this stuff. That's a problem. That's a big problem. That's a gigantic problem. So sure, could I have some of these things some of the time? I could, but that's a slippery slope. That is a big old slippery slope for me. What could turn into one meal could turn into a week of maybe not binging, but eating unhealthy foods. So it's been a journey. It's been a journey over this last month, just trying to figure out, how do I navigate this? How do I navigate removing the ultra processed foods from my life, but not removing the occasions where family, friends get together and maybe we enjoy a lasagna or a hot dog or a whatever it is, whatever that celebration is. I don't know. It's a work in progress. I'd be interested to hear how you're navigating that. Are you navigating that? Is that something that you are trying to cut out as well? So that's the topic of ultra-processed foods. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news. They are bad for you. You are fighting an uphill battle because they are being designed to be addictive. Good luck. I'm in the fight with you. We're going to win. Our last topic. So I mentioned at the top of the podcast that I am taking Trulicity, which is a diabetic medication. What I recently found out, actually over the last month, maybe in the last couple weeks, is that it is in the same category of drugs as, what is that one called? Ozempic or Wegovy, I think is the other one. They are technically a GLP-1 agonist. I have no idea what the word agonist means. I know what antagonist means. I don't know what agonist means. But this is made. It's made for diabetics, and it's supposed to help with blood sugar and helping regulate your blood sugar, which evidently is doing a fantastic job for me because my blood sugar keeps tanking. But I did find out that it's in the same class as Ozempic, which made me think like, man, how do I feel about that? How do I feel about that? Cuz it kind of feels like cheating a little bit. Although maybe it's not. I mean, I'm not taking it to lose weight, although it is having an impact on my weight loss. Like let's not, let's be real. It's having an impact on my weight loss. A positive impact on my weight loss. A couple of things that I've noticed is that it does reduce the cravings. I'm not hungry in between meals as much. Although if I'm bored, I'm still very prone to snacking. Um, I've also noticed that it reduces the food chatter in my head, which is super nice. And man, like very grateful for that. And what do I mean by food chatter? I mean the noise in my head where, for example, I was at dinner the other night with a good friend of mine. We had some barbecue, great. I made good choices. I had some pulled chicken. I had some sausage too. Sausage probably could have been better. Could have just stayed with pulled chicken. Whatever. Uh, but for my sides, instead of digging into the fries and other stuff, I got green beans and coleslaw. Although the coleslaw probably had a lot of sugar in it. Regardless, better choices than what I've made in the past. But as we were sitting there and we were starting to wrap up, a thought creeping in my mind is like, ooh, cookout 3 miles that way. I could get me a nice chocolate peanut butter milkshake to wash this down. And usually that would just be like gnawing at me forever. But it wasn't this time. It was there. It was in the back of my mind. It wasn't as loud. And actually, I verbalized it at one point. I told Josh, my friend that I was with, like, man, I keep thinking about cookout being that way and go grabbing a milkshake. And just there was something about verbalizing it that helped as well. But that food noise, that constant chatter in my brain of, oh, go get this, go get this, go get this, go get this, you want this, you want this, you want this, blah, until I actually do it, is definitely decreased. Now, the other thing that I'm not sure how I feel about this, and I actually talked about this with my doctor yesterday or Thursday, whenever it was. I don't want to be on this for life. I don't. I don't want to give myself a shot every week for the rest of my life. And we talked about it a little bit. He's like, well, you might have to. And I'm like, well, no, I don't. I might not have to. And one of the things, so these drugs, they're a big fad in the market right now. So much so that it's hard to even get this medication. And I need it for my diabetes. It's not for my weight. This isn't I'm not trying to lose 10 pounds so I can look better at the beach. I'm trying to get healthy. And so this stuff has actually been out of stock because the companies can't make enough. Regardless, somehow I've been able to find it, which has been great. But where was I going? Crap. Oh, I don't want to be on this for life. Right. And he said, well, you might. I said, well, here's the thing, is I'm making lifestyle changes. This isn't the fad for me where I'm just going to lose 10 pounds and I'm going to get off it and most likely just going to gain that back because I didn't really actually change anything. I want to change the way that I'm living so that I don't need to be on this for the rest of my life. And it was interesting. I felt like he kind of was pushing me towards needing to be on it for the rest of my life, which, like, no, I'm making these changes. So, how do I feel about it? I do feel like I'm cheating a little bit. I don't know why. It's almost in the same. It's almost in the same manner of like, why have I never gotten the gastric bypass or the lap band surgery? Not that I feel like those are cheating, I don't. But if I don't fix the underlying issues that I have with food, then that surgery ain't gonna do shit. Right? Like I'm still gonna be after that surgery. If I haven't done the work and I haven't made those lifestyle changes, I'm just gonna go get right back into eating what I want to eat and how much I want to eat. And so that's where this is challenge. This is gonna be challenging. This is something that I've got to think through. Um, I'm guessing the pathway might be as I'm losing more and more weight and I get to a healthier spot, especially with my diabetes and my sugar, then maybe we start to wean off the drug, and that way I can continue to build those healthy practices and get into that and really solidify that lifestyle change. So it's not just a sudden cold turkey, oh, you're off of it and you're back in the fight of food cravings and all of that. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. What do you guys think? Leave me a comment. Is it cheating? Is it not cheating? Is it helpful? Like, why should I even question the fact that I'm doing it? Again, I didn't sign up for a GLP-1. My doctor said, "Here, this is for your diabetes. Take it." I said, "Okay." And again, later found out, oh, this is actually this falls into that same category. But I also thought it's important to know, for you guys to know, as you're listening to the podcast, important for you to know that I'm on that. Like, I don't want you to think that, oh, you know, like, it's definitely contributing to my success. And I want to be open and honest about that. It does. It makes a difference. It does make a difference. All right, so that was the topic of the GLP-1 agonist drug. So we've talked about what went well, we talked about what didn't go well, we talked about ultra processed foods, and we just talked through the drug that I'm on. And finally, we're going to wrap up this episode with aim for better. Remember, we are not aiming for perfection. We are aiming for better, just a little bit better. It doesn't have to be a drastic change. It doesn't have to be where you weren't working out before and now you're going to work out 5 days a week. That's not realistic anyway. All I'm looking for is just a little bit better. So maybe next week, maybe you're just putting on your workout clothes. Maybe that's the step that you're going to take. And maybe the next week is you're going to go to the gym. Maybe not even work out. You're just going to drive to the gym. And maybe the week after that, you go in and you do 1 exercise. And maybe the week after that, you do 2 exercises. And maybe the week after that, you do 3. We want to aim for better. We want to aim for these small changes over time that can be sustainable and not these drastic, big changes that aren't sustainable. So, how am I going to aim for better next week? I am keeping cardio at least once on the list. I need to do cardio, and I do feel better after doing cardio. I just need to freaking do it. Do some cardio, Eric. Come on. Somebody put a cheeseburger at the end. Maybe then I'll do it. Just kidding. Cheeseburger's not my thing. Put a pizza on the end, then I'd probably do it. So I have a pool. I want to enjoy my pool this week. I want to get out in the sun, and I want to enjoy the vitamin D and just the fun and relaxation. I know that sounds a little bit weird, but oftentimes after I get done with work, I can just hole up in my recliner and not do anything. I got a nice house, and I have a pool that I can swim in. And yeah, it sucks being in there, and it's, again, it's the alone thing, but man, just go enjoy it, Eric. Go enjoy it. Swim around. Enjoy the fact that you're able to do it. Life will be better. Life will be better. And then I also put on here, consider walking at night. Maybe I need to, if I can't get on my elliptical machine, I've done walks at night before, listening to a podcast, just getting out and moving is so, so important. So I think that those are my 3 things. I want to try to enjoy the pool a bit more, which again, I know it sounds so ridiculous, but that would be a change for me. That would honestly be a change. All right, so enjoy the pool. Cardio at least once. Consider walking at night. So that's how I'm aiming for better. I would love to hear how you are aiming for better. Drop me a comment. If you haven't, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button so you know when these episodes are dropping. They're coming out weekly. We're coming fast and furious, so thank you for hitting that like and subscribe button. Thank you for listening. Thank you for aiming for better. And more importantly, thank you for being you. I appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate you listening. I appreciate you joining me on my journey. Until next time, have a great one. Aim for better today so that your tomorrow will be just a little bit better.